Morning, happy Wednesday. It's November 12th. So today is an intriguing day. We have the moon in Aries, so subconsciously and emotionally, we are in a Mars ruled space, and Mars is currently in Leo. So this can go one or two ways, kind of depending on you. This can go towards the realm of reacting quickly to emotional things from a space of ego, or it could also go towards reacting from a space of like warmth and compassion, kind of like childlike type of energy. Like it could go either way here. But what's the main aspect today is that Mercury in Sagittarius is in a square with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now this is creating is pretty much a conflict or a battle between feminine energy versus masculine energy. Now, in spiritual language, feminine energy is receptive energy. This is your psychics, your empaths, it doesn't really matter what's going on between your legs here. This is that energy that is willing to sit and listen and receive the messages and hear them. These are the folks that listen to learn rather than listen to respond. Okay, masculine energy would be your active energy. That's the energy that should be taking those messages that are received from the feminine energy and taking action with those. We all have both of these energies within us. Unfortunately, we live in a society that has put gender to that rather than energy to that, and has basically told one gender that they're only allowed to be this part and the other gender that they're only allowed to be this part, and then told them to sit down and shut up and let this side handle everything. So we've really screwed up that masculine feminine balance, and we're going to see a little bit of that battle begin to play out over these next few weeks. So the reason I say we're seeing the battle between these two happen here is because while we have this square between that Mercury and Saturn retrograde, what's happening is Mercury is in its pre-shadow stage, right? So we're starting to see things look back towards the past. It is in its detriment, and its ruling planet, Jupiter, is already retrograde, already looking towards the past, and also in its detriment. Now, they are in mutual reception, meaning that they're having a good conversation with each other. However, that conversation might not be the best of conversations because they're both very debilitated at the moment. And that debilitated information that is trying to come out, whether it is truth from the past or alternative facts, that could actually be a big thing today too. That is in conflict with this Saturn retrograde in Pisces that is telling us to listen to our intuition, to pay attention to the messages that are coming in, to listen to God, not dogma type of energy here. It's telling us to have good boundaries. It's telling us to have spiritual boundaries, emotional boundaries, things of that nature. Now that Saturn is in Venus's exaltation, and Venus is in Saturn's rulership. That's giving that feminine energy an upper hand here, okay? That's why I'm saying that we're gonna see this battle of information coming out. Chances are pretty good the more receptive energy is more likely to respond to this from a space of, all right, wait and see. This is like a let the games begin type of energy, whereas the more active energy is likely to respond from an ego type of mindset. They're likely to more double down. They're not very likely to take that time to actually receive what is being said, and they're going to fight it. And they're going to fight it from a space of ego. The moon it's actually conjunct the North Node right now, so there is this push forward, like speaking up for yourself, but are you speaking from ego, or are you actually listening to what's being said and paying attention to the messages coming in? And then it does not make any more aspects until late tonight when it moves into a trine with Mercury. So today is all about the information. and whether or not you are willing to accept the truth. If it goes against what you were believing, are you willing to listen to the messages coming in? Are you willing to be in that receptive energy? Because that receptive energy is the one that is in the upper hand right now. So if you're hearing things that don't fit what you thought were true, take a moment to sit with that instead of immediately reacting from a space of, I can't possibly be wrong, ego, okay? So, cards of the day. Queen of Cups is our energy. This is very much that Venus in Capricorn energy, in that, yes, we are empathetic. Yes, that receptive energy can hear you. We hear what you're saying. We understand that, maybe you've been fooled. We can be empathetic. We can be compassionate. We can be loving and caring and supportive. But we don't have to be a doormat while we're doing it, okay? We don't have to just lay down and accept the whole idea of, oh, you just have to be kind all the time. You do not have to be kind all the time, okay? There's a difference between nice and kind. You don't have to be nice all the time, okay? But it is okay to be understanding and compassionate and loving while also knowing when to close the door when somebody's expecting you to do that no matter what, okay? So that is really the energy going on here today. What we're focusing on is the Hierophant. Now, this is really interesting to me. Focusing on the Hierophant and avoiding the Ten of Pentacles. This is really kind of giving me the whole idea of, like, sit back and wait. Don't fight it. If they want to come at you, I know this sounds very coded. Okay, I want to be very clear here. Yes, this does apply to the collective, but it also applies to your personal life as well. If somebody wants to come at you trying to double down on a lie or their belief, despite the fact that truth is coming out to the opposite effect, or their own behaviors within that energy, don't fight it. Just say, okay, whatever, right? Like, focusing on the Hierophant is focus on the status quo. See where they go from here, right? Just have that boundary. Say, okay, whatever. Have that boundary. Walk away, cut them off. That square to Saturn oftentimes will create an ending, right? So there could be a communication here that creates a flat out ending, cuts everything off. So cut them off, right? Stick with the status quo today. This is like a compliant defiance type of energy, right? Just stick with it. See what happens, right? Avoid this Ten of Pentacles. Don't try to make it right now. Don't try to have that legacy, that stability, whatever, right now. Walk away from it. Say, whatever, these are my boundaries. Stick with the status quo. Let things go as they should go. Don't shake things up. And just see where it goes from here. Very observatory type of energy. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Wands. So there is this, like, energy underneath, this underlying energy of wanting to move forward with something, wanting to make a decision on chasing things that light you up, right? So, but sometimes you got to take a step back and kind of make sure that you're assessing and observing the people and situations around you first before making any decisions, so that you're clear-headed when you do make that decision. Also, let me add to this, a lot of what's going on right now is going to, like, harken back to the beginning of this year, like January, February, March, and the full moon that we have this on Friday is going to come from something that began in May of last year. So think about that as well as stuff starts to come up. What was happening in your life during that time, particularly February. Like, it's something may have kind of sort of started in January and then maybe, like, blew up in February. Think about that. This is where we might be heading towards either the same situation coming back around or a similar situation coming back around. So really pay attention to that as we go through these next several weeks, actually into December. Because this is where this is kind of a replay here to finish closing out some of these stories that we're beginning then. Okay, clarifiers for our Queen of Cups. We have the World. There's that ending for you. And Two of Cups. Lord have mercy. Okay. absolutely cut people off. Stand your ground. You can be empathetic. You can say, you know what, I understand where you're coming from, but this is not something I'm okay with. I can't be around you anymore. I can't talk to you anymore. I can't whatever, right? So this Queen of Cups energy is very like stoic type of energy, right? And it is stoic in this creating endings in your connections, right? Closing out these old cycles in your connections. So there could be a lot of, I'm curious how many divorces are going to be filed this week and next week. Just curiosity. But there's a lot of energy of relationships ending, friendships ending, things of that nature, just because we got one side acting out of ego and not listening, and the other side just saying, you know what, I'm done. If you're not going to listen to me, then I'm just going to be out. Okay. Clarifiers for the Hierophants. Clarifiers for our Hierophant, please. Oop. Judgment. Oh, and the Star. Gosh, this is a lot of major arcanas. All right. You ever have one of those ones? This is those moments where like having that little touch of pettiness kind of comes in handy, like in a positive way. So we're standing our ground. We're standing on our faith. We're not shaking things up. We're just going, you know what? I'm out, right? I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to tolerate it. You go do what you're going to do, okay? What that is doing is it is giving other people this chance to make a different decision. Like, is this somebody in your life or whatever that, like, maybe you've told them before that they're not listening. Maybe you have already explained to them what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. Maybe you have already clearly spoken your boundaries with them and they are still not listening, right? And you've just hit a point where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm done. They now have this second chance to make a different decision. Are they going to listen this time? Are they going to hear your words, your boundaries? Are they going to pay attention? Are they going to be receptive in their energy? Being receptive in your energy is, in fact, going to bring this hope and this healing, right? So this could also be you as well. Is there a situation where maybe you weren't listening to somebody else and now they're getting fed up that you're not listening? This is your chance to do it differently. I'm going to go ahead and say this. A lot of times, like me personally, for sure, I have a tendency to stop listening when someone isn't listening to me. I don't even take but I don't actually leave the situation, right? So somebody, if I figure out right away, my gut's telling me this person isn't listening to me, I still stick around. But I'm doing the same crap they're doing type of thing, right? So really practice some self-awareness here. Make sure that you're not the one who isn't listening as well, okay? Right now, that receptive feminine energy is the upper hand. It is the one that needs to be in charge right now. Slow down, listen, hear what is being said, and make sure that you are being understanding and compassionate, but that you are also having boundaries as well. Clarifiers for the Ten of Pentacles. Maybe. Why are we avoiding the Ten of Pentacles? Death and Six of Wands. Wow, this is got a lot of relationship type of energy here. I'm just gonna say that. So we are avoiding this legacy, family, stability type of energy, this just comfort, right? That comfort zone. We're avoiding that because we've got this transformation, this ending and beginning, this transformation, this becoming new, this Plutonian energy, along with this victory here. Just a little FYI, the reason why I say that stuff from the beginning of the year is coming around into December is because in January of this year, that was the last time Venus was in Capricorn. And we started to see some things like kind of try to sort of solidify, but things were not always clear. Things weren't clear. There was like shady shit going on because at the time Saturn was also doing some funky shit. And then when Venus moved into Aquarius, it met up with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and a lot of stuff blew up for a lot of people. That's happening again. In December, Venus will move into Aquarius. It will meet up with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and it's like a repeat. That's where we're getting this judgment, this second chance, a chance to do things differently, okay? Now, are you going to be receptive? Are you going to pay attention? Are you going to listen to what's being told, right? Or are you going to jump in head first and try to go, oh, this is it. Everything is good. Let's be best friends. Let's get in this relationship, just to get hit with the same thing again in December, okay? This transformation and victory here, this is going to require you to have boundaries, really good boundaries. If you're really expecting a different outcome this time, definitely do different things. This can also be having a conversation that creates change and has like a successful completion, a happy completion, okay? Underlying energy is Ace of Cups. So definitely there's like this new offer of emotional offer. Again, friendships, relationships, partnerships, things of that nature are on the table here. Are you going to listen, be compassionate, and have good boundaries? Or are you going to double down to things that don't match what you want it to match and react from a space of ego and childish behavior?